Welcome to my stables. I am the DMobo, and welcome back to Echoes of the Past, where last episode Kyrish got healed from the blood fiend wounds. Rhea went over to Riku's house and found it pretty much looted, all except for the furniture and a single picture. Where when she reconvened with the others, where Sage and Mr. Flipple had a decent conversation, and Sage traded some information with the cleric at the Paylor Church, realized that this was actually drawn by somebody going by the initials of E, lowercase t, B, A. The same artist that drew the opening of Ollie's. Now, this wasn't just a normal visit like last time. The streets were deserted, and the places of worship were barricaded with wooden spikes, where Bert and Korric decided to relax and almost got some bum rum to the face, but thankfully Bert was quick enough to fall flat on his face to avoid the flaming pew. Rallying the entire town of Broke to assist them in dealing with Zundus, they fly over where Kyrish spots a mass off to his left and realized that they weren't the only ones headed to Tarn. When they landed, a very familiar friend ran up to them, Ishtok no less, and he led them to Zundus, where he was being held down by chains and surrounded by dragons. And as they were running, they see a frail Amora walking up to the dragon. And as they drew closer, almost a blink of an eye, instead of Amora, it was almost a smaller version of the elven goddess. Somehow, but before they could confirm it, it was Amora again. For oddly emitting moss green magic, and then promptly collapsing in front of the lightning dragon's snout. Bert, you've been drinking heavily the past night, wanting to just de-stress from pretty much the month and a half of everything that's happened. There is a glass of water by your bedside table, and a note attached to a scroll.
I will read the note.
Hey, Bert. Everyone's headed over to Tarn to deal with some light blue lightning dragon. So you just follow this here teleport spell and it'll take you right to your buddies. Don't worry about Korric and Solus, they got one in their own room. So they can come when they're ready. Hope to see you soon and alive. Don.
Okay. I'll roll the scroll and take a look at it.
It's written in common, but it is, as he said, a teleportation scroll.
Okay. Where am I?
You're in one of the rooms of Ollie's.
Oh, okay. Well then, I'm gonna collect my stuff out of the room, go downstairs, order a cup of ale and a meal, eat and drink, and then step back up to the room and teleport out.
You go downstairs to order, and it's dead quiet. Even the lights are off.
Like, there's nobody down there?
There is nobody.
Okay, now that's just fucking strange, and now I'm gonna be hungry and thirsty. I'm gonna go teleport right there in the spot. If there's nobody around, I'm hungry, I want to get someplace where I can get food, and I'm thirsty.
You start reading the scroll, and your puke green magic starts to envelop it. And as you read, your magic turns into a circle. Very, very similar in the shape of the black ovals that you've seen so many times. But instead of darkness, you actually see the backs of your friends running towards the dragon.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be able to eat now anyway. I gotta go attack a dragon. I think. Wait a minute. What the hell are you guys doing?
Rhea, Sage, Kyrish, amongst everything that's going on, you hear Bert shout from behind you.
The hell are you guys doing?
I want to whirl around with the spell up.
You see a puke green circle, and it's very similar to the shape of the Dark Lords, but on the other side is not blackness, but in fact the main room of Ollie's Inn and Bert.
He's gonna faint.
Kyrish and Sage and Bert, as you finish calling out, you just see Rhea just faceplant, unmoving in the tarn stone.
Oh,
Kyrish,
that
can
had
you
to
deal with
fucking
that?
hurt. I think I got, maybe I got, I don't know.
Bert, don't come any closer. Tell me
Okay.
something only Bert would know.
Tell me something only Bert would know.
Shut up, Sage. It's me.
Unless it's not, because we've never seen.
Okay,
Chocobo before.
Okay, so how many times have I shit my pants on a journey with you? How many? 6?
That's
7.
a question you should be
Or
answering.
is it 7?
To be honest,
Okay,
in all this excitement, I may
honestly,
have forgotten myself.
How many other people would know that I shit myself in battle? How many?
Bert, you're very famous for that.
Okay. You remember the conversation that we had back in... Okay, DM, I need your help because I don't remember where the fuck the temple was. Remember we went and had that really, really deep, down-to-earth conversation that was really, really personal, how I saw you as a daughter.
You were in Gula. You were in
I
Eldridge's
cared.
house.
Okay. Do you remember we were in Eldridge's house? The conversation that we had together.
Give me
The one that I showed you my
What
my
did you show me?
innermost heart and the
Oh.
way that I truly do care about you as if you were my daughter.
That's good enough. Get over here, you nerd. Something's happened.
What do you mean? What's going on?
I gesture at Rhea on the ground.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I saw Rhea eat shit face first. What happened? Like, did you trip her?
No! Do you really
What
think
the
I
fuck?
could trip Rhea? Good God.
She only got 2 legs now. You could have. Alright, Rhea. I mean, I know that's good.
Kyrish, did you see anything? Now I'm like kneeling and rolling her over.
Yeah,
all
no,
like probably
I'll come
100 some pounds of muscle.
I'll come and help. Flip
God,
Rhea
she's
over.
fucking ripped. Why is fuck? Rhea!
Okay.
You're the cleric here.
I'm going to cast protection from evil on Rhea.
Ah, yes, the true reaction to seeing someone faint and rolling them over so they don't drown in the mud. Jesus, they're ripped.
Well, you know,
As-
I mean,
She's heavy. Muscle is so heavy to move.
As you cast protection from evil. What the fuck? What? Who the hell did that? I can't get to Rhea! And the 3 of you see Mr. Flibble banging on
oh my god.
Bert's bubble from Rhea, and you just see him slowly start getting pushed away as he's still banging on it. I swear to God, if you don't disperse this, I'm going to rip from.
Bird,
I need to, Dr.
Bird.
Rhea.
bird
Yeah.
down.
Rhea's.
Oh, sweet.
I'll dispel it. Right as he goes to bang on it, though, as he goes to bang and his whole body's ready to just slam against that fucking shield, I'm gonna dismiss it and let him fall on his face.
He does, and he rolls, and you just see a little penguin ball roll and bump into Rhea's shoulder. Come on, Rhea. And he's gonna, like, quickly, like, tap on her shoulder. Come on, Rhea, this is no time for falling over. Come on.
Okay, I'll grab some water or a water skin, kind of squirt it in Rhea's face. Not enough to drown her, just to, try and wake somebody up that fainted. She passed out, clearly unconscious. Let's try and get her back to awake.
Mr. Flibble will assist by jumping up and down on her chest.
Oh my god.
What? I'm like 5 pounds.
Yeah, you ever slammed a 5-pound bowling ball into somebody's boobs?
What the hell
It
is
might
a
hurt a little
bowling
bit.
ball?
Oh my god, a rock, 5-pound rock into the chest. Do you know what that would feel like?
No, I've been in Rhea's head this whole time.
Good.
God.
So, can't imagine
Stop
it feel very good.
Stop arguing with the penguin and just fix this.
I'm trying.
barely
as I
got
splash
here.
water on Rhea's face. I'm trying. I really am. I'll be slapping her a little bit in the side of the face. Come on.
There's a
Rhea,
whole
wake up.
dragon situation we have to pay
Wake up.
attention to, and a Mora
Dragon
story.
what?
Is that where Kyrish went?
Her eyes will just shoot open and she'll just kind of quickly sit up. Just for no splashes. Okay, I just need a quick clarification right now. Was I seeing stuff? Or did anyone else see that?
Mora doing magic.
The whole bright lights, Mora. Yeah.
That wasn't Imora.
What?
That was Corellon.
No,
What?
that's Mora.
How did you
For a
come
brief
to
moment,
that
she
conclusion?
became Corellon. That moss green energy, that's Corellon's magic. That's my god's magic.
Where is Amora?
She is unconscious about a foot away from Zundus' snout, who is snuffling her curiously.
Zundus is a blue one, yeah?
Yes, he is the blue one.
Right.
Does it feel like I've had a penguin-shaped rock dropped on my chest several times?
Kyrish has not left a defensive stance towards Zundus.
I think I'll join him in a defensive stance.
I think I'll join them in standing up.
You see, as you form your defensive stances, you see the dragons start to kind of circle around him, also assuming a defensive stance, and you hear multiple cries of what you recognize as Keith and Gramil's language, and you hear the strain of physical effort. And Zundus shifts his head to where his chin is resting on the ground, and you can see his eye look kind of like do some back side eye, and he looks very irritated, almost annoyed. And he returns his gaze back down to Amora.
Real quick, did we ever get any rest? I don't think we did.
No, you did not.
Shit.
Grand. I am fresh out of level 3 spells.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to get closer.
How far away are we from the dragon?
I'd say you guys are about 20 feet from the dragon.
Or not.
Okay, so we can clearly see his eyes.
Yes.
And they look like...
They are lightning blue. They are very clear. And when they shift from the back to look back at Amora, it goes from annoyance to curious. But not a predatory curious.
And we don't actually know his name.
You do. Eastro and
we do.
Isolde
It's
has... Yeah, Isolde and
Okay.
Eastro have said it multiple times.
Okay, I knew that you labeled him as that. I didn't know if they... I killed the last session, but... Alright, cool. Zundus.
You see his spike-like ears twitch forward and the eye darts in your direction, and it narrows. It goes from the relaxed, open pupil to to the normal oh my god, the snake-like pupil, but it's not narrowed enough to where it's aggressive.
Just focused.
Yes.
He throws his axe down the ground in front of him.
You
I don't think he's taking
see
this time.
you
I don't
see
wish to
his
fight you.
he softly growls and he raises an eyebrow.
That's what this little shield just said. But I still see you have a sword upon your back.
What did she say?
She said that you were here to help. I don't see how that be how.
And we are. Zundus, you've grown at an exponential rate for a dragon. You're under the influence of dark magic.
He chortles.
Right. It's true. Every one of us, the clutch. We all are. I myself was the first to be freed. Then Isolde. They tried to save you, but apparently you nearly rendered them to pieces.
Well, he says, is she speaking in common as opposed to is it draconic?
They're all talking common.
Well, she says you, more the physical you did it. If Kyrish is correct in what he said before, he was controlling you.
It's more than likely. Unfortunately, one of our biggest regrets, Zundus, before we ever actually found out how we could help you and your kin, we had to slay one of your kin. One of black scale.
Every
I
Eastral,
did to say this.
Zundus,
I don't
and
think they do.
Isolde whip their heads towards you, and when Zundus does, you actually see 3 of the royal guard get flung to the other side holding a chain, and all 3 of them at the same time say,
What?
Yes. Unfortunately, it's...
Should be stated, we didn't know at the time about the phylacteries or anything. We
No.
only found out about that because of that one sacrifice.
It
We had
happened
a-
outside Brogue.
If
I
we
can't-
had known sooner, things would have been different.
I had kept meaning to tell you, still, but the time just never seemed right, and... Well, why not start with the truth?
Not to
Little
mention
sibling,
we,
yeah.
not to mention we were quite pressed at the time, given the Morris states back then as well.
Been nothing but press for time, Rhea.
Yes, but even more so when someone's at you.
I am
Possessed
sorry,
that fight too.
all of you.
Oh yeah, that's when we devised a hole in the ground to the chamber.
Zundus stands up like he wasn't chained down to begin with. When he turns to face you, you see lizard folk hanging off the chains. But Zundus doesn't move forward. He's actually standing above Amora, and you've been around Solus enough that his stance is defensive above her.
Prove it. Prove that Sergain is dead.
And Istra and Isaldi walk up and stand on either side of him.
His bones move once more as things slave. However, I do have these. I meant to make them something I would forever wear. It's my greatest shame. But do with them as you see fit. And he pulls out the... Oh, good lord, the wings. I think I have scale.
You have the black dragon wings.
Scale.
You have the
I think it's just the
armored.
helmet and that.
You have the armored gloves, the armored spike gloves, and you do have the helmet.
Yeah, he pulls out the wings, the helmet, and the gauntlets. Walks forward about 5 feet, and holds them out.
Estrel walks forward and sniffs.
It smells like him. But this smells tainted.
He wasn't freed when he died. It was the only manner we had at the time to stop the Dark Lord's influence.
What do you mean tainted?
She comes forward and takes a sniff.
Ugh. Smells like death.
Yes. He's still the salty. I'm sure you smell it on Zundus as well.
She does not make eye contact, but she does turn her head away from Zundus. And her wings sag a little bit.
I thought as much. We were given a gift by the gods. This very blade. It does not pierce the flesh, merely the magic that binds you.
As the blade is mentioned as a gift from the gods, Rhea's eyes will just move back to the unconscious Amora. She'll just kind of make her look just a confused face, like one of concern.
The easier that we can do this, Zundus, the less painful it will be.
I mean, though it
Not at
works.
I'm proof. They used it on me. Not back to normal, kind of.
She's just a baby.
And while we didn't have the sword at the time, we still found a way to remove it from your other sister as well.
Barely.
Granted, I still wasn't myself, but with the help of a friend, of sages, and the great surgical skills of Riku and Bert, they managed to take it out. There was only one small casualty. Well, it wasn't you, which I'm thankful for. It was a small little snake that Korric summoned. It touched the phylactery, and it died.
Lex
I
is okay.
do need to press you full time, though. He will likely see through your eyes and know what we're doing.
The sooner we get it done, the less chance he has of taking control.
Zundus looks to you and actually breaks eye contact to look at Amora. Looks back to
Hey.
you.
And as far as I know, none of us are in a bubble this time, so it should be fine.
What is she to you? Why is she so adamant that I let you help me? What have you done for her that she says she claimed?
Kyrish just narrows his eyes. How would you know that?
She said that you saved her.
Korric, you wake up and clothes are everywhere. Except you're by yourself.
Oddly enough, you have a piece of bologna covering your private.
Meat on the meat.
And a cucumber sticking out of your bum.
Oh my god.
So, just a regular Saturday. Got it.
That's right.
A regular Saturday at Ollie's. You wake up and you definitely know that you're in one of the special rooms at Ollie's, and on the nightstand beside you is a glass of water, a note, and a scroll.
There's also a bunch of frogs spawn in the corner with a note saying, please drop these off at the nearest pond as soon as you can.
Oh my god. Jesus.
I love you, Leigh!
Oh my god. Solus is sleeping dutifully by the side of the bed.
Completely oblivious to anything that happened last night. Got it.
I mean, that's what Solus does.
Oh,
You're
don't
right.
bet any, but he is the wingman.
He's silent, judges.
Bitches loves doggos.
Damn it, man.
What do you wish to do?
You said there's a note with a teleportation scroll?
Well, you just know it's a scroll.
So then I read the note.
Korric, my man! Gondra had to go deal with some dragon in the sewers, and all of us in Brock are gonna go help. So here's a teleportation scroll, and it's gonna send you about 10 feet behind your buddies. Just remember to put clothes on, cause as much as the ladies here like seeing your ding-dong, the entire world don't need to see your ding-dong. Your buddy done.
Alright, first off, don't like being told to put clothes on. I'm only gonna put my armor on. And leave the rest not there. Probably remove the cucumber though. Might be a bit uncomfortable, you know. I don't know how
Armor, yeah.
If I land wrong, it could be it could be bad.
Good morning, Vietnam. Yeah.
Oh god, if we end up with that with Bert, he ends up just getting a new projectile weapon.
Oh my god, no!
It'd be
Flaming
It's like a
cucumber.
It's like a
Oh, the
potato
bum rub?
cannon.
Jesus Christ.
call it the bum cannon.
I love you guys. So you put your armor and neglect your clothes. What's next?
Correct.
What's next?
Wake up Solus and we take the teleportation scroll.
Solus yawns and stretches and barks a greeting, and your orange magic goes through the scroll And Solus whines a bit because as your magic goes into the scroll, an orange oval, a similar shape like the black ovals you've seen, but instead of seeing darkness, you see your friends, the backs of your friends, and you see Eastral, Zundus, the blue dragon, and Isolde staring down at them, having a conversation.
I guess I'll walk up behind everybody and not comment about my nakedness.
I mean, you do have armor on, so that
Exactly.
counts.
I'm gonna say nothing.
It's not technically. Kitty.
Boy, I hope it doesn't get hot today.
I hope no one brings heat metal.
For real, right? Like, that'd be some sizzling sausage right there.
Oh my god.
We'd have to call him Sizzling.
Does anyone else smell barbecue?
For real. Smells like bacon. Or is that frog legs?
She told me, oh, it seems your other friend has arrived.
Welcome to the land of the living, Korric.
Thank you.
Surprisingly put together.
Yes, to the party, and Kyrish kind of takes a double take as he turns around to look at Korric.
Without even having looked back yet, Rhea's just gonna just side-eye Kyrish, be like, let me guess, half? Full?
About half. Interesting get up. Right. Matters at hand. Anyways.
Yep. What'd I miss? Are we helping or are we killing?
Oh, we're helping.
Okay.
Mm,
Helping. Got it.
Come on.
Well, I mean, do you want to fight a couple of dragons?
I mean,
But
we'll see. I guess. I won't say
We're just-
no.
I was
We're just
saying that
fighting
it
a
wouldn't be a
dragon
good
head-
idea to fight two dragons because I think they would probably make short snacks out of both of us.
I was
And
gonna
When is
say
fighting a
I'm a
six.
dragon
lover, not a
ever-
fighter.
When has fighting a dragon ever helped us?
It hasn't, not yet.
I can love and fight at the same time. It's cool.
Last time we did, I lost an ear.
That's kind of kinky.
Can we focus?
Yeah, they like it.
Can we focus?
Please.
yes.
So how are we gonna get rid of this thing, you guys? Figured it out yet?
Well, if our friend here is willing to cooperate with us,
Kyrish
he lowers his head down and Kyrish does his thing.
You have yet
Kyrish
to
draws the
answer.
blade.
You have yet to finish my question.
Oh, what was the question? Oh,
Oh, your orange-headed friend came down, but the she-elf, the one you call Amora, said that you had saved her. And she requested that I let you save me, just the way that you saved her. So how did you save her?
he came
Well, there's
down
the
with
mummy's curse thing.
Mummy's rat.
There was finally finding an emotional connection in Kyrish. Like, take
That
your pick,
too.
really. Saved her ass in battle a couple times, though that's been kind of vice versa.
To
as
be
well.
fair, she saved us as much as we've saved her.
Tracked her down in a swamp where she was in fight with the
Yeah, that's kind of how we got in a fight with the Black Dragon.
black
originally.
dragon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can speak from a cleric's point of view to say that everybody around me has done everything they can to successfully and ininvasively, without hurting them, rescued several different dragons from the Stark magic.
Amora is very important to us, both in our current states and our shrouded path.
None of us would be here without Amora. And vice versa. She wouldn't be here without us.
Rhea just still has the look on her face after the whole Corel and his transformation thing.
Zundus looks to his sisters, and they nod in agreement. And he looks down. He stands up on his hind legs. And he backs forward, and he leans down. And you see him scoop her up with both his hands. And he walks forward, and when he walks, the ground kind of shakes a little bit. And 5 feet in front of you, he places down Amora. And you are able to see her skeletonized body. She's molted most of her feathers. Her once long black hair is now short and dirty, like it hasn't been washed in weeks. You see the bright red burns that look like chains going across her body. You can see various scratches, cuts, what may look like puncture marks, bruises, covering her entire body. And her eyes are sunken in, and it looks like she has 2 black eyes for how dark the circles are.
May the gods.
Well,
Seems like we've all had a time of it.
did we honestly expect her to not have had a time? But
Kinda hope she'd have found a place to hunker down for the month that we were gone, but apparently not. Bert, can you help?
I will see what I can do.
He'll
can you
check,
lay
Bert.
hands on... Oh. Hold on a sec. Man, okay. That is a 19.
You give her a once-over, and you realized her wounds have already been treated. This is the rest of the healing process.
The soul?
The healing process has to be natural now. There's nothing more magic can
There's
do.
nothing more we can do. We can give her rest, and we can give her shelter, and we can nurse her back to health. That's about all we can do for her.
good. She's at divine intervention.
Her wounds have definitely been treated. She just, I could...
Kira will close her eyes at the mention of divine intervention.
I could,
Corellin.
we could take her to the temple, but first we have to take care of this dragon before we can...
But kindly move her out of the area, please.
Absolutely, I will. And
Okay,
I will
don't
carry
worry.
her.
Okay.
I'm leaving. God, am I leaving the party then? Because I'm thinking I want to get her out of the sewer area.
We're not in the sewer.
We're in the
Yes.
ghetto.
No, Bert. Actually, what happened is, the area of Torn, what used to be the slums, is now just flat, broken rubble.
Because
The
this
air-
dragon outgrew the sewer and
There
flattened the place.
is a massive hole where the small entrance to the sewer used to be.
Indeed.
And this isn't just a day's worth. Zundus has been out and about for a while.
I will move to where my token is with Amora and find a place that might be flat enough to lay her down comfortably. If I have to sit down and lay her down under, like, in my lap or whatever, it's fine.
Ishtok will approach. Med tent, this way. Come.
Okay, where am I going?
You're going to follow him back to where the closest things that look like buildings are, which is a good 50 feet away from where you guys are standing. As Ishtok leads Bird away.
Well, I gave you something precious of yours. I think it's time you give something precious of my sisters to them.
He is going to Dragon Loaf, and he is going to place his head where Amura's body was and close his eyes.
Well, Kyrish.
Stage is yours, buddy. Go
His
get 'em.
eyes flick over to the other two as he walks over. Does hold still. Take long. He places his hand on his head and plunges the blade in.
The blade hits its mark, but it doesn't go into the skull. And you see the blade glow a moss green light. And Kyrish, you're close enough to see that the longer you touch the blade to where the phylactery is, you see the runes slowly turn to black, but from where the others are standing, it looks like the light is just fading down. And when, after a few moments, Isolde and Estrel watch, they wait with bated breath. And Zundus slowly opens his eyes. And they were clear before, but now it looks like almost cleaning a foggy window. It is crystal clear.
He pulls out and takes a step back.
Estrel gives him a sniff.
The smell is gone.
It worked.
The vine doesn't feel nasty anymore.
She's just baby. She's so small. I'm sorry. Ah, her little eyes. Ah.
Oh my goodness. Come on,
Zundus.
let's not go to pieces.
Zundus raises his head and puts his neck atop Isolde's and pulls it towards her. He puts his wing, which is still... You can see the faint scar of where Gramil cut it. Healed by the magic, and he drapes it over Estrel.
I don't feel as angry anymore. I don't feel hate as much.
Right, chalk it up. Another day avoiding becoming dragon food.
Good.
Another step closer to salvation.
Thank you.
Kyrish just holds the blade up between his two hands and he just looks at it. Specifically at the runes.
They are black.
As in, the sword has gained some of the energy back that was taken by that weird six-armed being.
As in it needs recharged.
Oh. Sage is looking very distractedly at Korric.
As you should.
Well, she wasn't looking at him until after everything finished, and now you get the sense that she's almost waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Zundus will stand up, and his spiky ears go back, and he turns and he starts to snarl.
You never have one good thing.
Isolde and Estrel look to where he's looking.
Oh, hey! Isn't that the master?
What?
He's not our master, young one.
Kyrish
we
gonna
got
look up
incoming.
from the blade.
Wait, what?
You see, Kyrish, you see Hadwin coming down from above. And
Oh,
as they draw closer, you see two figures upon her. Two people you know very, very well.
It's Nisana and Cleothera.
You see the Dark Ruler, and you see Grog.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's worse.
How dare you show your face here? He's going to raise the blade pointed at turkey shit.
Like, despite the fact that the Dark Lord is there, Rhea's eyes are locked onto Grog. She just gets her blade ready.
Hey, we need to kill some evil to recharge that blade, right?
Dude.
How convenient.
Then you best hope you can get the energy from turkey shit as much as you can. That one's mine.
Indeed,
bit of
how
payback.
convenient you show up here now.
Zundus, Estrel, and Isolde will turn around and assume defensive positions, but Zundus more in the forefront.
You saved me.
Zundus, do not. You are one.
Incorrect. We are many.
Not yet. We are not ready.
You insolent little pest! And as he says this, Hadwin slams down onto the rubble, sending rocks and rubble everywhere.
Would Bert have heard this?
You would have heard the slam. At this point, you would be about 20 feet away from what's happening, but you saw the black dragon, but you would have seen the other dragons start to turn their backs on your friends in a defensive position.
Uh-oh. Doesn't look like things are going the right way.
So, I want to delve into Kirish's memories here a bit.
Okay.
This is something that wouldn't be in the books. Would he remember that the Dark Lord carries anything particularly precious to him on his person at any given time?
From what you've seen, he never carried you. The only thing you saw him constantly with was his black robe. Anything other than that, you have no idea.
Well, I don't think I'm disrobing him, so.
Does he carry anything precious with him all the time? Yes, his wallet.
Korric! Get him!
Oh no.
Okay. Then. Could I do a spot check?
Go ahead.
To
Your tokens.
Oh my god! Fucking
That's-
net 20!
I'm about to say that's either an app
Oh
or you're an
my
app one.
goodness.
Sick.
I got a
Yep.
Are we in the
20
hallway
on
now?
this
What's going on?
This is the basically ruins of Tarn.
shit. The
Ruins.
important part.
Well, the ruins of the slums.
That's good. I didn't want to pay child support anyways.
Oh my god.
Damn it, man.
Uh,
He just killed all
Kyrish-
his frog babies in the
oh
sewers.
my god.
Imagine how many dead children are down
Well,
there.
I didn't, cause mass murder. That was somebody else who's in charge of the entire narrative.
God damn it, Zundus. You fucking cleared all of his responsibilities in one fell swoop.
Ah. I hate you guys. I
Man,
love
there was
you.
hundreds of eggs. Oh.
Jesus Christ. Alright, moving on. Kyrish, as you're searching, you see that his hands are gripped tightly upon the neck spines of Hadwin, but you see happiness and excitement when you make eye contact with Hadwin. And you see a happy dragon smile start to form. And she prances in place from side to side as she starts to wiggle. And then as you're looking, you can't see, but you can't see the Dark Ruler's complete face because of the hood, but you can see the snarl and the same exact like the bottom facial features of what Keith and Grameel have. You've seen this similar snarl on Grameel, the false Grameel.
Have we
When
ever actually seen his face?
you have not.
Huh.
And Kyrish the Spy has not. But you look past, and as Grog gets down, the hood starts to slip, but your eyesight, you are intent to find something, and the hood slips a little. And you realize that Grog is female. And she shares the same scale-like texture as Keith and Grameel. And it's slightly blue, which matches the same blue as what you've seen on the Dark Ruler before. There's no items for you to see yet.
Since this is Grog that is getting down, do I see the blade?
You don't see the blade yet,
She
but... Oh, go ahead.
She'll slight chuckle as her eyes still lots of Grog. Right, didn't come for a duel.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy, Rhea?
In that, yes, you want to remember. You were trapped when that happened. This is the one that took my life.
What?
Yep.
You can feel Mr. Flibble start to shake on your shoulder. You see him you feel his feathers get fluffed when he's angry, and he hops down, and as he hops down, he starts waddling forward, and he's moving his flippers like someone angrily pumping their arms. This is the guy that killed you?
Alright, hold back. If anyone's going to take him on, it's me.
What else has this guy done?
You're not doing this alone.
Oh, I know I'm not, but answer my damn question!
Pretty much subjugated the entire damn continent. At least trying. It's taken a lot of lives.
That makes me... And as he's saying this, he's growing bigger.
Can I?
He's growing wider. Makes me so angry! And as he finishes that, Mr. Flibble is
He just fucking
now...
Hulk out.
He is about 5 foot taller than a normal owl bear. His flippers have grown into 3 long claws, and his arms have basically not only muscled out, but because penguins don't have fingers, they have grown into sharp objects, because as he's lurching forward, he's making marks into the concrete.
Oh god, I know what happened. I know what he's become.
Raging just like you.
He became a fucking Empoleon.
Oh my god! Yeah, fucking pretty much. I didn't even realize that. Except penguin colored and 5 feet taller than an owl bear.
God. I love
It's terrifying given how tall owlbears are. She's just gonna look at this, slowly look to the others. I did not know you could do that.
Well, surprise, surprise, surprise.
Someone stop him before he dies.
Mr. Flibble is going to let out an angry roar, which actually is so forceful that you can see the tail spikes and the edges of the dragon's wings start to flutter.
They will stop. Not yet. Too many years in life that could be lost here.
Is your little penguin pet gonna hurt me? Oh, come.
Please let him go.
Oh god.
Just everyone
Come
under
on,
control, get him
little
under control, get him
pet.
under control. Sage, let him go, let him go, let them fight.
Want a keg of bum rum?
It's okay, I'll just kill you first. And then Rhea, and then everybody else.
Not this time.
And he's going to draw Kyrish. You recognize this as your uncle's axe, the one he made for you. The one that was given to you upon your training completion. He pulls it in his right. And Rhea, he pulls out basically Searing Light's sister and pulls it in his left. But before we do that,
Bio break? Oh.
bio break, but also as hulked out Flibble goes and fluffs up even more, Zundus switches his tail and lets out a breath of lightning. At the end of the breath, God damn it, Bert already has his memories. There is a bright light that envelops everybody.
Oh no.
It's gonna. Ah! Oh, it's not him. Oh no.
That's why I said I will talk as fast as I possibly can. Okay, we gotta change the music up. Alright.
My number's 5.
No, your number's 2. 5 is Manwolf. Okay. Oh my god, I just hear TDAB screaming pie from the bottom. Okay.
Oh god. Okay.
The white light envelops you. And you see yourself from a third person perspective. And you see what used to be pictures, but now you see them in the flesh. Your mother and father holding a baby you. And 3 older siblings surrounding your baby self. As time went on, you saw your father playing around in the garden with herbs, and your mother coming home smelling of various soaps. However, Tarn wasn't the best. Segregated by wealth. You were lucky enough you weren't in the slums, but not lucky enough to be born rich. There was the back room of the apothecary. That's where you, Holly, Rosemary, and Quince grew up. At the beginning, you saw yourself and your siblings sitting down, reading books, identifying plants. From clothes, from following your mother, how certain soaps and certain plants could get out various sorts of stains. And when to run and cover your ears when your father was courting the customers that came in, never saying a word to your mother. But when things were free, you weren't needed, you and your siblings were loose to run the streets. You ran amongst the packs of children, playing catch me and gambling with shiny rocks and marbles. You found your little group of Mara, Boro, Tom, and Toro. You were the best group of friends. Always had each other's backs, no matter what. You always took fall for one another. When you got home, life wasn't that great. When you weren't being called strange or small, when your siblings were being praised and complimented, there were times where your parents looked at you with love, not as another mouth to feed. But you saw the time go by. You saw yourself grow up. And reality settled in. You saw yourself about 10 years ago. You realized you weren't going to be the family heir. Your curiosity and your scattered memory, unlike Quince, who could remember everything and had a steady stream of thought. Not like Rosemary, the oldest, who was a fanatic with herbs. You would never be the family jewel as your sister Holly. You saw men of all sorts line up for blocks to admire Shawley's shiny straight black hair and her graceful figure. You didn't hold interest in that, and you didn't draw eyes anyways. You would never bring your family wealth, unlike your father, and again like Quince, who entered the trade school down in Broke, who went on scholarships and merits. When he came back with a wealth of knowledge. And with his business side of things, earned you guys a pretty penny. You were pretty much average. You saw your old self poking around places you shouldn't be. And it reminded you of the time where you were poking around Amora's house, especially under the stairs. You loved to run around in the streets, read books about adventures. You saw your younger self being lectured and shouted on about from your parents. Rosemary with pity, Holly with belief, and Quince with a little bit of regret. But as the summer ended, fate finally snapped, and destiny, coincidence, fell into place. As many adventures do, It started with a wizard. You saw a tall man with a hood walking around the corner. You know who it is. But your younger self didn't know that your mark was a wizard. They only existed in bards' tales and storybooks, not wandering down an odd alleyway. They wore majestic robes of silver and gold, not worn-out cloaks with deep hoods. Honestly, he looked like any other human who might have been walking down the streets of Torn. You didn't... Sage didn't learn otherwise until you took that fateful book. You saw it go smoothly. You ran down the street. You heard your old self shouting to a non-existent friend. You saw her bump and stumble into him in an apology to him. And you saw yourself take off, disappearing into the crowd, tucking away the treasure you snatched. At first, you peered over your old self's shoulder, and you recognized these, but the confused younger sage's face, I mean, it was just scribbles to her. You sat away in your hiding place behind the apothecary. You became irritated. All this effort for what? Nothing? It wasn't even a storybook written in common. But there were a few phrases in common, and you saw yourself go closer to the books, and the no, 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 no! As you heard your old self sounding them out, the world exploded. Flames took the back of the apothecary, half of the shop next door, and you had no eyebrows. However, you feared that you were going to die, but then realized, wait, I'm still here watching this. I can't be dead. As the owner of the spell book saved you. Your concern after being saved was the very on-fire apothecary and the furious family coming from inside. You heard the subsequent upbraiding, and you remember this was the harshest. And then you remember Holly. Was it Holly or Rosemary? You can't remember. That they said that Mom and Dad berated them for asking where you were. You thought it was just over-exaggeration, but you realized that she wasn't. You saw your younger self rub her ears continuously. But you know that you were impossible. When the who, how, and why all passed, and the flames died, and the extent of the damage has been seen to, you saw your father approach with his belt. And then the wizard stepped forward. In between you and your father. And you heard him ask if he could take you with. The next bit is a bit hazy. A blur of words, a blur of images. But you realize that you caught some key phrases. Is this enough? Does this cover it? Offer more for the child. Your face drops in shock. And you see yourself climb up the stairs with shock and pain. You saw yourself put your clothes in a trunk. Your siblings nowhere to be seen. But a loose hug from your folks. And you left with a tall man. Back then, and not even now do you remember why, or even know why, your parents gave you away so easily. One mystery you couldn't solve. And the dark back of your mind began to think, was it more profitable to sell you? Maybe they just didn't want you around. Did they secretly hate me? But being with Gondra, you realize your friends only want what's best with you. Want what's best for you. And in this middle memory transition, you realize your parents wanted what was best for you too. The wizard, he called himself Eldridge. You see yourselves going to his home. The cobblestone of Tarn turned into the grass of the wilds, which turned into sand. And after walking a path of sand, you see a city, and you realize
Gula.
this is Gula. This new place soothed the pain of leaving everything you knew. You heard your younger self ask question after question, and all Eldridge could do was laugh. But as the more you traveled, the more daring your questions became. And instead of shooting you down, he explained them patiently. And had an answer to everything: why the forest grew, where the birds lived, why the sun moved across the sky. But you could see your younger self pause and open your mouth like a fish out of water. An unanswered question, the unspoken question. What was he going to do with you? It wasn't until you reached his home, and as you follow them, you realize that the city's not built up as it much once was. There was no palace yet. A bigger building, yes, but not the size of the palace. There was no 7 statues in the middle of the square. There was no protective bubble. But inside the home, it was full of magic and towering beauty. Just came tumbling out everywhere. You stood inside the door, arms tied around yourself, as Eldridge came into his home. The fireplace whooshed to life with the flick of his wrist. A few books floated off a shelf and onto a side table. He picked up his traveling coat, and it walked itself over to the coat rack. All with an overcast gray magic, the same magic you seen when the house went into lockdown when the roided out goblin was banging on the door. And then he goes to continue walking, and he whirls about to face you. Well, out with it, girl. You hear your younger self stammer. Out with what? The question that's been dancing around your face since we left. Ask it now or toss it out the window. I don't care which, because I will not have unanswered questions cluttering up my home. You see yourself just stare at Eldridge. You see the golden runes floating around its head. What are you going to do with me? You see him blink and tilt his head, and blink once more. My girl, that is what you've been sitting on? Was it not obvious? You just see yourself shake your head. He put his hands on his hips and chuckled, very much like Kyrish does, and you can see the family resemblance. The same facial structure, the same body posture, hell, even the same mannerisms at this point. I've brought you to be my apprentice, of course. Apprentice? Well, how else do you think the world gets new wizards? They certainly don't hatch out of eggs. I don't know, I thought you were going to To punish you? To throw you in a dungeon and never let you out? Maybe turn you into a slave? Eldridge's eyes were full of laughter and he smiled. That, my girl, would be a tremendous waste of talent. Talent? Yes, talent! Bloody hell. He ambled to the fire and drew up a plush chair, talking as he's going. I'll admit, when you first stole my book, I was rather peeved. No urchin would appreciate the value of what was just stolen. Likely to end up stained in a mud puddle, my poor spellbook was. I managed to follow it to your little alley. Good thing I did, too. You could have blown yourself to ashes, girl. Bloody hell, that was impressive. You see yourself sit on the edge of the fireplace when Eldridge motioned to. Impressive? Yes, impressive. Are you hard of hearing? Your parents assured me of good health. No, sir. I just... Impressive is an unusual word for describing that. Well, it was impressive. Impressively destructive. Impressively flammable. You see yourself blush as you look down. Impressively talented for a young girl with no magical training. And you see yourself look up and Eldridge is meeting your younger self gaze. I didn't know I needed magic training. It does. Quite a lot, too. And yet you managed to cast a spell with nothing but an old book. Not even any instructions. He starts tapping his chin and you see yourself look away. How do you feel about the incident? Bad? I know I shouldn't have stolen your book or tried to do anything with it. I didn't mean to. He holds up a finger. I didn't ask how you feel about what happened before or after. I asked how you feel about the incident itself. The magic, girl. How did it feel? You see yourself cock your head in the thinking motion. Good. How so? You see yourself bow your head. I liked it. The power. Making something from nothing. Something sparked inside. And you touch your chest. And you look up at him. I liked it. Good. Then you have some potential. Aren't I supposed to feel bad? Perhaps, but shame is for lesser beings, my young apprentice. We are wizards, are the desire for our powers in our blood. It makes us who we are. You see him pick up one of the books from the side table and open it, seeing him flipping the pages. Being an apprentice is not easy. Being a wizard's apprentice is especially difficult. Your parents spoke of curiosity and adventuresome spirit. These are good traits in one who wishes to learn magic. They also spoke of a scattered mind and unwillingness to sit down and work hard. You will have to overcome these trials to learn magic, girl. These trials and many more. But I believe you can do it. His face wasn't gentle or kind, but foreboding and expectant. But a slight hint of eagerness. I'll do it. I'll do whatever you tell me. I'll work so hard. I can do it. I will do it. Just tell me what to do, and I will. A gentle smile played across Eldridge's face. He lifted a pipe and nodded. Excellent, then you can start by making dinner. And you see yourself making food. Meals and meals and meals in a routine. You realize the more you learned, the more rooms became available to you. But this house didn't look so big from the outside. Where were all these rooms coming from? But there was a personal bedroom, just for you. And there was another room full of books, the study. And then his bedroom. And the sitting room. All these spaces were hers. And unfortunately to clean. But you grew in skill, there were more rooms. You see yourself keep working and cleaning And then you developed a little bit of a trick, magical trick here and there to help you with the chores. You see yourself sitting at the table, practicing writing and reading, math, history, and then going into different languages. Basic literature, and science. Not everything is magic. There is actually some natural order to this. And then finally, the magic. Taking order and turning it to chaos. Chaos taking it to order. It was slow, but you kept working. Then you cast your first true spell. Then second, third. There was so many failures. But he was a harsh teacher. When she failed, backlash. But nothing like your parents' backlash. I know you can do better. What, is your head in the clouds today? Very good, Sage. You've made quite a bit of progress. Be better today than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than you were today. You met other wizards. And your skin crawls for the first one you met, Mithrun, the Dark Lord. Just as strange as your teacher. But the one day you made contact with Mithrun. His dark eyes staring at you. It was a sense of hunger. But it was wrong. And then you start to realize, the more you watch the interactions between yourself and Mithrun, you've started exhibiting similar mannerisms. The want to learn. The thought of doing this alone. The thirst for knowledge no matter the cost. The violence. It was like walking in Mithrun's shadows. 5 years later, you wanted something more. Studying day in and day out, quiet rooms and endless books. You see yourself pestering Eldridge to let you go, and every time there's a hint of worry every time you refuse, but finally he let her go. You were finally 18, and you left. 2 years later, you see yourself trudging back to Gula broken. Failures, successes, friends, enemies, it became a blur. Calloused feet, a thicker spell book. Wisdom with experience. And your heart tightens as the images of memories start to slow down into solid images. You see Cleo, a half-elf. The complete opposite. Where you were quiet, Cleo was brash. Where you were cautious, she was careless. Where you were weak, she was strong. Cleo mocked the life and any authority figure of her own human elvish heritage, and tied herself to no place and no one. Her head was as hard as the hammer she fought with, but her loyalty was steadfast and strong. A blur of a year goes by, and you hear yourself admit your feelings to Cleo. But there's a problem with that. That somebody, Cleo might just go and destroy it. There was an ambush. And knowing you, you scanned the memory with every bit of your power, but even then, even as an outsider looking in, you can't even tell. It was the dark. It was sleeping. There was cries of pain. You couldn't find your spell book. You remember the flash of Cleo's smile and the last light of the campfire. And then you felt her blood hit your hand. And that guilt carried upon your shoulders. And you feel that guilt return now. You went back to the only thing that was familiar, Eldridge. However, he welcomed you back with open arms and kept you busy. Cooking, cleaning, reading. And you finally broke and you came back with a conviction. Eldridge's eyes showed sorrow and how he wanted to help. But he knows that there's no magic in the world that can heal a broken heart. During your return, you saw someone that looked like Eldridge. Just a younger version. You ran back to the house and you told Eldridge about it. And he told you to bring him in. You were still hurt from Cleo, but you saw yourself try to make an effort to make him feel welcome. You ended up learning his name was Kyrish, but you kept him at arm's length, literally. For future attachments, it would be another Cleo. However, you did see yourselves talk a little bit here and there, and you saw yourselves studying together and practicing spells. In the midst of this, you became strong enough. And you don't have this spell, but Kyrish managed to summon a little friend from another plane of existence. A small little snake named Lux. You asked Kyrish to do the same and thought a bird would help. Quiet, portable, and also smart. And out came Darling, a pure black raven. Very sassy, much like his owner. The four of you grew close. Lux and Darling more close than you and Kyrish, but it was nice to have a friend. In the middle of your studies, a light bulb came on. A spellbook that couldn't be lost or stolen. Power inscribed not just in your mind, but your body. You saw yourself with your planning face, covered in books and smudges, and your desk covered in sketches. You reached out to every coordinates, even using some of Eldridge's contacts, drawing up your experience and their knowledge, but Mithroon, he showed the most interest in your idea. And your stomach churned as you saw the two of you looking together, and you see that Mithroon does have very similar aspects to what the former king did, and you realize that Mithroon is almost like a half-breed of what Keith and Gramil are. You saw yourselves pouring your efforts into this theory, and it was finally time for the ritual. You sat in Mithroon's room, sitting backwards in a chair, leaning onto the back. A familiar crack break of glass and the whir of a needle. The power went into the ink, the ink into the needle, and you felt the pain of the needle going into your skin. Your designs of binding and knowledge. Your spell book upon your body. Every spell you knew, with room for more. All of your spells, one by one, perfect and careful. It took hours and days of focus and pain. But you never stopped. He never stopped. It was the night that came to seal the spells. Mithroon helped you solidify them one by one, school by school. But your present self shakes her head as in the middle of the final inscription, the possession rune, Eldridge broke in. and stop them. Sage, he is not the mage you think he is. He is studying the school of necromancy. He's evil, and he wants to put you under his own rule. And as you look upon yourself, as you look at the mirror, you realize he was right. Binding and control were nearly the same thing. You fled. You ran through the house, but you could hear the battle fading quickly behind you. You burst out of the door, running faster than Solus, but you failed to notice. But your present self sees and your heart drops. A very confused and then suddenly concerned Kyrish, walking in the shadows of the alley as you flee Gula. As you ran, you swore a new oath. You would not be taking advantage. You would not lose yourself to others. Not to a teacher, a lover, or a friend. You needed power. You were a wizard. You went back to Tarn, but not directly to your house. You wouldn't let attachments put you through pain again. You conditioned yourself to dislike simple touches like a handshake or a hand on the shoulder. Years passed and you saw there was a notice from Gula, saying that the king was calling all adventurers to kill the Dark Ruler. At first, your younger self shivered at the thought, but your new one tensed with determination. You went back home, true home, and you saw the statue of Eldridge. Too late. You can mourn later. You met with 5 others. Rhea, the barbarian elf. Pete, the magical pugilist goblin troll. A small Korric on Solus the wolf. Goombert, the dwarven cleric. And a welcoming, familiar face, Kyrish. However, as you go up to greet him, his suspicion-filled gaze bores through your mind. The two of you stand up and go to Eldridge's home, and you explained what happened. Sage wasn't the first life that Mithrune destroyed. Oh my god. Apparently your life wasn't the first one that Mithrune destroyed. She told you, hear yourself telling Kyrish what he tried to do. You see him pour his own energy into the seal. And like he said, it was the wrong one. The seal wasn't going to do anything, let alone even finished. But it still helped, in a sense. You still kept everyone at an arm's distance, but they became your best friends. You let down your guard and let your companions touch you. You traveled to Ilya, Fiend, Broke, and Mesa. You couldn't think of a name, and you thought, well, what about Gondra? Well, what's that supposed to mean? How about our personalities? And you chose adventurous. You go to Liba. You liberate the town. It wasn't a good feeling, fighting the living, but they were on the side of who destroyed your life. You took a rest at the inn, and made sure they were safe, and you moved on. But you didn't see Cricky, but you did see Bert and Korric leave notes for Mushu and Cricky. You went to Ilya next, a pleasant elven town, but you sensed something was off. You asked Bert to dispel any magic, and the illusion faded. You see the pain in Rhea's eyes and look away. You hear Bert say, feel really guilty, but you hear her say that it wasn't his fault, and she was thankful for the truth. You loved the forest, but seeing the true forest, you saw that it was once a healthy environment. You were mesmerized that music had its own magical properties through any. And now Your gut twists again because when you see the reuniting of Rhea and Annie, and you see them embrace, your past self was whatever, but your current self doesn't like it. You traveled to Feme. It was a disaster. You all saw a small army in the middle of town and went to work. Bert's holy magic, which was a mint green. It wiped out the weaker undead in one spell, while the rest of you took out the stronger ones. Your war cries in the din of battle drew out some of the townspeople, and they joined in the fight. Their leader was a Chew, a half-orc and half-human monk, and he prostrated himself upon the ground and thanked you all to no end. A few days passed of rest, and you took to the ruins. Time blurs for you, and you end up in Brolk for a few days to relax and get some holy equipment for the big fight ahead. You were celebrated heroes and welcomed with open arms, and you stayed at the Bubbling Inn. You wandered the city, visiting the various temples, learning the basis of each god and goddesses, but in the end you decided, nah, they're not here now, what's the point? You went to the library and wrote a book, Migrating Mithrune, telling the story of when you first met Mithrune and how he changed. You also took in Kyrish's time with him as the Dark Ruler, hoping this information could be used to protect people. You were walking around and you were not expecting Ali Damara's temple to be a brothel, gambling hall, and a bar all in one. Seeing suggestively dressed women in Korric following them made you blush, and the Dawn saw you and laughed. You decided to go back to the library, and you see Rhea waiting for you, grabbing you by the wrist and taking you back to Ollie's. She sat you between herself and the Dawn, so you were safe. And after a couple drinks, you see yourself giggle and actually fully relax. And then there's Riku, a big fan of yours, and took up clericism in honor of Bert. She told you of her studies and how she's the outcast. And she asked for a picture of you all. Why not? It's just a picture. And in a black...
Jan.
In a black robe, a feminine figure. And you see yourselves posed just like the picture. But in a very large dark robe, you see a woman drawing the picture. You try to get a good look at her face, but you're too distracted as your younger self and Rhea are holding each other, both of you with blushed cheeks. Your younger self hadn't been this physically close. Rhea resembled very much like Cleo, but Rhea stayed. Rhea didn't destroy your world. After the picture was done, you grabbed your equipment and left. Misa was your last stop before entering the Dark Lord's domain. You encountered Mithrune after fighting a large horde of undead. You were getting ready for the final fight, but even your memory turns to blackness. It returns to the sound of Goombert's crying, and you see your younger self drag your feet. And as soon as you stand up, you fall to your knees again, as you see yourself weep. You see your best friend, your newfound love, lying dead in a pool of her own blood. You saw Kyrish wake up and walk over with an agitated gait, only to stop and cry when he saw Rhea. He touched her face and sat down, silently weeping. Pete staggered his way toward their fallen friend, and you remembered, oh, they're from the same village. And as his cries broke the sky, you see Solus walk over and begin howling and whining, with Korric coming up a few seconds later and crying as well, sitting next to Rhea's feet alongside Solus. You begged Goombert to bring her back. It was too soon to lose someone you cared about. You hated this feeling, and you couldn't even imagine how Pete was feeling. With a group vote, you decided to bring her back, but unfortunately, Goombert wasn't powerful enough to cast reincarnation himself, and it was too far from Brolk. You traveled to the cheapest cleric they could find, who also looked like Kyrish, but a little bit older. But unfortunately, his business was too close to the stables. You all remember that Goombert had a horse allergy. He should have been taking his meds. You tightly held hands with Goombert, Kyrish, Korric, Pete, and the Illumian named Op. And you pushed your magical prowess into Goombert. As the spell was near completion, your present self freezes as Goombert sneezes. Rhea's body woke up, but a horse that was given to her by Eni. Rhea was now a centaur. You emotionally recovered and you became stronger. You reached the Dark Lord's castle and Korric was going to take you through the servants' quarters. But fireballs prevented you. Kyrish took you through the front, and as you were darting around the fireballs in the dead and swamped, you entered the throne room. But not the throne room, the first floor. And this time, all 6 mirrors are lit. Even Sir Gaian's, the black dragon in the swamp. Your present self follows them up to the war room, and you see that it was almost the same as before, but a little less dusty. You run past the rooms and you see Kyrish pause at one of them, but he continues forward into the throne room. And you see what is Hadwin behind the throne. You remember Hadwin being a little baby dragon around Eldridge's shoulders about the time when Kyrish came back. And you stop, for there's Cleophera, almost looking like she's alive, but you can't fight her. Bert screams he's had enough of this bullshit and snaps his fingers and the illusion goes away. There's Cleo, pretty much looking alive, but there's a deep gash in her neck. And the identical runes on her arm where you had Darling peck at her before. You see Rhea lower her blade to her sister Nisana, where there is a large dent in Nisana's chest. Also a gray elf. You remember Pete mentioning his teacher being a rabbitkin, and you can clearly see a hole through her chest. And there's Grog. A small, hooded figure, standing closer to Hadwin, and the Dark Ruler sitting in his chair. You go to look and scream at me through, but your voice caught in your throat. He looked so different now. Similar now, but back then he was so different from the student that you thought he was just trying to help you. You went to scream to your teammates about what you remembered, but a wave of black magic hit you, and everything went to black. And as the white light fades, Sage collapses. We start this fight off with Mr. Flibble. Mr. Flibble is going to walk forward. As he takes a step, he starts running, and he is going to charge into Grog. Kyrish, you just see this owl bear-sized penguin rush by Hadwin, and Hadwin's happy expression towards you just looks at confusion and just slowly and just watches Mr. Flibble run by.
I guess we now know the answer to the question, what's black and white and red all over?
They're Flibbles! After he's been snacked on by a dragon.
Mr. Flibble after he's gotten to his enemies.
You just see Mr. Flibble just run and body slam Grog, and you see Grog get flown over 5 feet. And you see that Mr. Flibble has curled his flipper around her ankle and basically lifts his arm up and slams her to the space in front of him. Oh, fuck.
Makes sense.
Damn, he just critted.
Ice fighting's always going to be strong against Dragon Dark.
You just see Cobblestone just rise up. After Mr. Flibble is Isolde's turn. And she's going to hunker down, and you can see her size just expand, and you feel the air temperature drop almost back to Liba cold temperatures. And you just see a stream of icicles and snow emit from her face. Hadwin tries to get out of the way but doesn't want to step on Mr. Flibble, so she kind of reaches her arm up, but she still gets nailed in the back of her leg with some of the ice. The Dark Ruler staring Kyrish down with immeasurable hate. He doesn't realize the ice is coming, and he takes it fully to the face. Oh shit, die down.
He's down? Hey!
Oh my god, no. I wish. Alright, so 10 and 4 make 14. Double that is 28. And then...
I wonder how Korric feels in the cold with his decision to not wear clothes.
I'm sure my balls are resting on the back of a wolf, so
Well, I guess you're
probably
still
just
pretty warm,
fine.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
I think I'll be good.
Oh my god. After that, Bert, it is your turn.
Oh boy. I am going to shoot at Grog twice with my heavy crossbow.
You will be taking a -4 penalty due to combat.
Because he's in combat?
Yes, because there is a very...
Oh yeah, because I got
Yeah,
a chance that I might hit Mr. Flibbles. Gotcha.
a very
Well,
good
in
chance.
that case, I will... If there's nobody in front of the Dark Lord, I'm gonna shoot at him.
Alright.
So...
Dark Lord's just stood there, just be like, was that a penguin that just went flying back? Just gets an arrow in the neck.
Alright, I gotta do... you son of a bitch.
Ooh.
That was almost a 19. Damn it. Is that going? What was that? 17. Yeah. Hitting AC 17.
Does not hit.
Does not hit. Okay.
You aim your crossbow and you shoot and it goes over the dragon's wings and you're like, yes, it's gonna hit, and it falls in front of the black dragon,
Okay.
who kind of looks at you and cocks her head like a, why would you do that look?
Yeah, I missed.
Unless that's already added.
Next person.
Bert, you go to shoot again and it falls right behind the dragons. After Bert is Solus.
I guess that'll put us under the dragon. These are friendly dragons? The three
Yes.
dragons?
Yeah,
Okay.
red, blue, and white are friendly.
Okay. I'll put us there. And I think can't bite nobody.
No.
He can growl menacingly.
Korric,
I guess that'll be it.
Solus charges forward and his hackles raise, and the only time that you've seen Solus like this is when his children were being attacked in the clearing, and there was just anger and rage in the direction of Grog and the Dark Ruler. He is ready to rip some people apart. Rhea, it is your turn.
Okay.
There is an unconscious sage in your arms.
She moves down to the dragons. She will look to... Not the white one, as the white one is currently enlarged and extremely frosty. And so far, 15. Get to here. Estrel, can you look after her?
I can do
Get her
that.
somewhere safe. Thank you. Just going to...
Okay, I'm back.
Wait a
Sorry. Had a phone
She's
call.
going to gently hand Sage over. And then I believe it's time for us to do the thing.
What are you talking about?
Hey man, I get to do the thing.
Whoa. I like to do the thing too.
Shut up.
Yes,
You
but
shit your pants too much. Nobody wants to do the thing with you.
Oh
I've
my
never felt
god.
so affronted in my whole entire life.
So,
Whatever do you mean?
I'm a rage.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that bull rush to get myself to here to smack into Grog. Meaning I can do the movement and still attack. It's only the one attack I get to make though, I believe. So it goes off the higher attack bonus. So let's roll and see what I get. 12 plus... Well, that's an unnatural 20 right there. Plus onto that. 24. $28 to hit.
That does hit.
Very nice. I didn't have to even imbue you with it.
Because I don't believe I can do the thing if I've raged, because that counts as the same action I'd rage with. So I have to dark magic stuff on my next turn, but through that I can at least attack. Does Grog count as an evil creature?
Yes.
Okay. So 3d6 plus 5 plus my strength, another 4. So 8, 9, 11, 12. Basically, this will be a plus 13. 3d6 plus 13. So it's 13 plus 13, so that's 26 damage.
Okay. So that's okay.
Just brings her blade down on Grog. Time. You're the one who dies.
As Mr. Flibble, he brings his arm over and you see Grog coming down. You unsheath your blade and bring it up, and you hear the crunch of metal on metal. But when you bring your blade up from its full swing, you do see that the edge is covered in blood.
I'm assuming that, given they're still close, we don't get a good look at what Grog looks like.
No, but you hear a feminine cry of pain. After that is Hadwin, and Hadwin is going to keep making eye contact with you, Kyrish, and she's going to start trotting forward. Well, not trotting, but slowly, like the prowl, like the cat prowl forward.
Prowling
Yes.
forward.
Yes, she's going, prowling forward. And Zundus, Estrel, and Isolde will growl in unison and kind of come closer together side by side to basically make a dragon barrier so she doesn't get through. After that is Zundus. Zundus is going to take a claw and he's actually going to make a scratch toward Hadwin. And Zundus misses. His claw goes to go for Hadwin's snout, but she pulls back just in time as his claw goes in front of where her face would be. Korric, it is your turn.
To summon nature's ally level 4. Great! Summon Zorn Minor.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.
I don't know what it is, but let's go.
I will show you what it is. This is what he's summoning, guys.
Throw it right in front of old turkey feathers.
You see Korric concentrate his magic, and you see it settle on the ground underneath turkey feathers. Since his little ally goes right after him, would you like for him to attack?
Yes, of course.
Alright, roll an attack.
So I got a 20.
Okay, the bite hits. Roll for damage.
16.
Okay.
Now it's the same D20 plus 4 for the claws as well.
Yeah, so hold on a minute before you roll.
Yep.
Your orange magic goes into the ground and you all hear a rumbling sound, and this weird 6-armed creature, is it 6?
Three arms.
3 arms.
Yeah,
Three
so
arms, 3 claws,
the
3 arms.
the 6-limbed creature comes crawling out from the ground, and you hear the Dark Ruler cry in pain as his legs are trapped in this very odd creature's maw. Roll for a claw.
Is it supposed to look like that?
10.
Does
Not
not
great.
hit.
Okay, rolling again. D20. 11 plus 4, 15.
Does not hit.
Damn. 11. Again, plus 4.
15 does not hit. But the Dark Ruler is flailing around too wildly as the creature tries to swipe at it with each of its 3 arms. It misses each time. After that is Grog. And Rhea, this Grog, she basically is slamming her. She tries to wriggle her leg out of Mr. Flibble's grasp. I didn't mean to hurt anybody! Let me go! Let me go!
Hmm?
And the hood falls down, and Rhea, you see this feminine lizard folk's face. This is the same face that was in the family picture in the fallen king's bedroom. And it is full of terror as she stares at Mr. Flibble's flipper wrapped around her ankle.
No, that can't be right. This trick.
Kyrish, it is your turn.
Oh, crap. Literally everyone and their mother has moved. I'm going to pull out of my bag of wonders, the green vial.
Okay.
And I'm going to toss it to Bert. Make sure you make use of this if you're going to be shooting from back there. And Kyrish is going to rest the sword down, and he's going to start concentrating. And then suddenly, around the Dark Lord, a swarm of bats are going to erupt around him and start attacking him. 18.
Plus 2 because flanking, that does hit. Kyrish, your blue magic is seen throughout the bats, each with their own little set of blue on them. And you see them go after the Dark Lord, squeaking and angrily, and you start to hear the robes start to rip, and more cries of pain as you see your little bats kind of dive in and come out carrying small bits of flesh. Roll for damage.
Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, 6.
Nice. Alright, Eastrel will back up a little bit, grab Sage with her tongue, and put her in her mouth. And she will back up even more, turn around, walk forward a little bit to avoid smacking anybody with the wing, and she takes off, heading towards the medical tent where everyone else is at.
She wraps her tongue around Sage, puts her in her mouth, and spits her out like a living missile.
Oh my god, no! The Dark Ruler is going to, with one arm, block his face, but another arm bring out...
Is it his turn?
It is.
Okay. Any living creature that begins its turn in a swarm in its space must succeed on a DC 11 Fortitude save or be nauseated for 1 round.
Okay.
The save DC is Constitution based.
Oof.
Also, he loses 1 hit point per round for bleed.
He failed the Constitution save. He is trying to protect his face and wave the bats away. After that is Mr. Flibble's turn. Mr. Flibble is going to slam Grog onto the floor again, into the ground. And he hits. God damn, Mr. Flibble is pissed. Mr. Flibble is going to pick up Grog by the ankle again, and he's going to yeet the son of a bitch. Oh, fuck, that's a critical. Rhea, you see this terrified woman get yeeted. And Mr. Flibble throws her so hard, not only does she land in the ground, she actually bounces, 5 feet to your left, but then she actually bounces a further 10 feet away from you, creating small lizard-sized holes in the concrete. Puny lizard!
I can't step mad at you, Flibble.
Isolde goes next and is going to take a swipe at Hedwyn. And hits. She connects with her shoulder, and it's just like she just barely slashes her, because when Isolde follows through with the slash, not a whole lot of blood comes out. And Hedwyn coils back and hisses. Her attention now focused on the 2 dragons in front. After that is Bert.
Okay. So, the range 100 foot plus, so it's 180 foot. Okay, so I don't have to move. Area has a 20-foot radius burst. Alright, I'm gonna cast Holy Smite.
Alright, roll your damage there, good sir.
That's 15 points.
Rhea, you look at Mr. Flibble with a sense of proudness and then worry as he starts to walk forward following his thrown prey. And then you see Bert's puke green magic start to envelop him. And with one of his flippers, he rubs his eyes and puts the other one out, muttering, "I can't see! Why can't I see?"
That's Holy Smite for you. Bert's gonna scream out, "He's blind! Get him!"
Yes, he is blind. What was that?
Holy Smite.
Kyrish, you see Bert's magic flow over the Dark Ruler, and you start to snicker, and then you see it go over Hadwin, and she roars in pain and confusion as the holy magic goes over her body, leaving small, holy, puke green runes clustering around her head. Meanwhile, it clusters around the entirety of the Dark Ruler's body and also Mr. Flipple's body.
Do you mind not hitting everyone over there?
I do apologize for that.
Hadwin is not our enemy.
It was only supposed to affect anything.
Just keep it in mind.
Speaking of things that might not be our enemy, I think there's something up with Grog.
You'll have to deal with it. I'm concentrating.
It is now Solus's turn.
I will move us, put us right next to old Turkey Boy. And let Solus go in for an ankle bite.
Alright, roll to hit.
So it doesn't hit.
No. Solus, you urge Solus on, and he is all too willing to go on ahead. He charges forward, ducks underneath Hadwin's body, and goes to leap up. However, the weird six-limbed elemental you have summoned is a bit too tall for his jump and barely misses the Dark Ruler's ankle. Rhea, it is your turn.
Okay, so go about this, given we do also blind Flibble to deal with. She's gonna take hold of Flibble's flipper, guide him along with her as she heads over to where Grog is. All the while saying, "Look, I'm gonna need your help with this, buddy, which means no smashing straight away, okay?"
But he hurt you and friends!
He did, but that's a female. I think Grog is possessing her? Is Grog just like some kind of possessing entity? That's the King of Kula's daughter.
I wouldn't know. I just know he hurt you and killed you, so I'm going to kill it. Into tiny, tiny bits.
We can kill it when we get it out of her. But now we need to do the right thing. And as she heads over, does this figure still have their weapons drawn?
They do, yes.
She'll just look to him. Look. Are you still you at the moment? Or did you twitch back?
She pulls herself up. I'm Messiah.
Messiah? I'm Rhea from Ilya. I'm going to need to ask you a favor quick. Hand me your weapons, so if he takes over again, he can't use them on us.
Yeah, that sounds good. And she's going to shakily hand you over a weapon. Lucia, what are you doing?
Shut you got back to the bat mauling.
Don't make me bring him out, Lucia. And her eyes just grow wide with fear. And she's handed you the battle axe, but she holds the sword and clutches it to her chest, shaking, almost like this sword is going to protect her from the words of threat.
Messiah, if you hand me that sword, I'll protect you, okay? You have my word on this.
She is too fear-stricken to do anything.
Shit.
She is looking dead on at the Dark Ruler.
Flibble, if you don't mind, just quickly come here. She's going to use Flibble to block her eyesight of the Dark Lord. Have him facing the Dark Lord.
I'm assuming you're pushing him.
Yeah, just like guiding him by the flipper. Just there, and this rotates you this way. There, he's no longer looking at you. You can trust us. We're the good guys.
At seeing Mr. Flibble walk in front of her, she's going to try and back scoot her legs out from her crater away from Mr. Flibble.
No. He's on our side. He's just, I'm not going to lie. We've had history with the one that's possessing you. But you're not him. You're an innocent in this.
That's what you think.
God fucking damn it.
You don't know Messiah like I do.
Who's talking? Grog or him? Grog, Dark Lord.
That's the Dark Lord.
Kyrish, if you got control of the bats, can you have one of them shit in his mouth?
I can't control where these things go, just how long they're up. Please focus all attentions on him if you can.
Korric, you're a man of nature. Get the bastard shit in his mouth. Maybe it'll shut him up for a bit.
Rhea, is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
Yes, it's my action. I am going to... Given that they do have the blade at the moment, probably would be better to try and get that off them before I do this, but at the same time... Can I roll like a persuasion or something? Try and get the other sword off them.
I was gonna say you could do a grapple check to try and rip it from her hands. Well, like prying her hands off of it.
I was trying to think of a way to do it that was less threatening to her. She's already shaken up.
Yeah, you can try.
Please be a good roll with diplomacy, as this is only a +1. I mean, I'll take an unnatural 20.
Her eyes are still staring through Mr. Flibble. And she clutches the sword closer. You can't protect me from him. He's always been there. From the beginning. He's just stronger now. No protection. No protection. Always there. Always there. And she finally just mumbles into ramblings of the same repeated phrase.
I think I can protect you. You know the people that can help you with this. I had a similar situation. Something that was being a bad influence, something that was make me do things I didn't want to. They found a way to steal it inside my mind. I believe they can do the same for you if you let us help you. Even if it means I have to go back home.
As you talk, it is Hadwin's turn.
Yep.
And Hadwin is going to look at Isolde and is going to open her mouth. And Kyrish, when you see her do so, it is a multitude of colors, and all of a sudden you see fire, ice, almost like a green gas, and boiling water erupt and twirl together like some odd tornado as it shoots right for Isolde's face. And that is a hit.
Who's it coming from?
Hadwin. Isolde's face, the white dragon's face, is enveloped in this multitude of breaths, and she roars in pain, and Zundus roars with her. And Isolde, she shakes her head, and after the breath fades, you see that some of this one side of her face is a little charred from the flames, but the underside of her neck is almost steaming from the water. After Hadwin is Zundus, and Zundus in retaliation is going to make a lightning attack on Hadwin. And hits. And you see the lightning spark all over Hadwin's body, except it doesn't seem to do as much damage as Hadwin's breath did on Isolde. She looks at Zundus and she snarls and just twitches her wings like she's brushing it off. Korric, it is your turn.
Can I give him a disease?
Oh my god.
I have contagion.
I didn't think you were getting that intimate with him.
Oh shit! That's fire.
I still got that cucumber.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It just looks down at the Dark Lord while he's covered in bats. Now we're going to play a little game. It's called I'm a Pickle. But that's not a pickle, it's a cucumber. Yeah, at the moment.
I also don't have pants on.
Just has his armor.
The baloney just fluttering in the breeze.
I'll go with poison. I'm doing 20. Booping him on the nose. With poison. Fingers.
Your tip of your finger glows orange, and you see the Dark Lord's nose. You go to touch it, but amidst the bats, he sees you, and he pulls his head away just as you just barely miss. If he had nose hairs...
Oh, he's got no hairs. Come on. Turkey feathers? He's got hairs everywhere.
Oh my god, no, that's not how this works. But
I tried to give him the little finger of death.
Korric, what are you doing over there? I'm fingering the Dark Lord. What's it look like?
oh my god.
That reminds me of a TikTok. Oh god, I'll see if I can find it. But it's finger blasting. All the ladies love finger blasting.
Oh my god.
I'll see if I can find it. That was hilarious.
After Korric is the Zorn. What is the Zorn going to do?
Continue to chomp and bite on him. Fuck. 2.
Yeah,
plus
no.
4. Okay. 9 plus 4. We know that's not gonna work. 12 plus 4. I don't think 16 is gonna work. 18 plus 4.
He continues to swipe, but doesn't want to hit the bats of your allies, so all of his arms miss, but he decides to crunch his teeth a little bit closer, and the Dark Lord rages in pain once more. Roll for damage.
Oh, 17.
Alright. After that is Grog. Rhea, roll me a listen check.
Alrighty. Good job. In 1920. 30.
You hear the mumblings fade, and there's silence.
Ah, well, it seems like you've fallen into my trap.
Rhea, does a 24 hit you?
Yes.
Were you looking down at Lasaya the entire time?
Yes.
As you watch her and her mouth stops moving, and you hear Grog speak, you're too stunned to realize that as you make eye contact, that the sword, your sword, it doesn't puncture you through and through this time, but it does make a painful gash along your midsection. You take 21 then. She takes the sword with her one hand and she actually comes back down again, aiming for the hand that's holding the battle axe. Does an 18 hit you?
Yes.
The blade doesn't hurt as she's only hit you with the flat of the blade, but it is enough for you to drop the battle axe back at her feet. Kyrish continues concentrating on the bats. We go somewhere else. Nowhere that nobody can see. A dark place. It is small, young, little Bugan female wandering the dark. She's hugging herself. I know I can fight this. I just need to find the way out. I can't let him keep winning. But how do I get out? How do I fight him? Where's the exit? What am I going to do this time? Who am I going to hurt? And as she talks, she just kneels. And she craters herself. And the scene on the young lizard woman fades to black. What was everybody's favorite part of the episode?
All the sexual innuendo jokes. Hey, actually, take that back. Take that back. I have no child support.
Oh, look, one
You know,
survived.
Because
Tarn,
you murdered an entire village of innocents.
here's the thing. Torn, there's still people alive in there. And where you're thinking of, broke, is not destroyed. It's just emptied.
Look, it doesn't count when Korric
No one's
has
there.
produced the entire village worth of innocence.
The next generation's all part Korric.
Oh my god.
This is how every other species was wiped out to be replaced with halfling. Quarterlings.
I choked on my coffee during that.
That's why dinosaurs.
My favorite part's the parts I don't know about yet.
That Sage got her memories back?
Yeah, I want to see that part. I want to see that.
Drama.
Aside from that, for what I was actually able to witness, the idea is like, yes, finally, time for me to have that duel. Our fight will be legendary. Wait, what do you mean you're just a kid? Oh, you're having the same issues like I had with Flibble. I've got a solution for that. I quite literally went from raging 1 second to I will protect the child the next.
Well, the thing is Lisaia's story is super fucked up. And if she lives through this, I hope y'all will be able to experience it. But, if Mr. Flibble keeps getting his way, because he's not going to be too happy about seeing Rhea hurt again.
We need to protect this while Flibble gets slashed and gets their web slapped out. Flibble just bodies again.
When I teleported in, I think my favorite interaction was just with Sage. When she was like, how do I know it's you?
Yeah.
The
That
level
was
of
heartwarming.
distrust. Well, the level of distrust there of her watching our backs like that. It kind of got to me. It was cool.
I do love the idea as well, where it's like, yes, tell me something that only Bert would know. Bert proceeds to go to try talking about how much he shits himself. So it's like, that's common knowledge with everyone nowadays. Tell me something only Bert would tell me.
That was my favorite part. It was great.
I don't know what my favorite part was. I like the fact that everyone's focusing on the Dark Ruler and Rhea's like, oh shit, we have another situation on our hands.
I mean, it makes sense.
I don't know that guy.
Even though Rhea is the barbarian, she's also the bleeding heart of the party.
I'm just curious on how Rhea's gonna react to getting slashed by, and disarmed by Messiah Grog.
Non-lethal damage is a thing. I think.
Oh, it is. Rhea's gonna do non-lethal. Mr. Flibble's gonna do lethal. Who's going to beat out who?
I finally did non-lethal. She's knocked out. Flibble just elbow drops for the finish.
I'm excited for next week. There's gonna be a lot more bullshit next week.
Absolutely.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below and comment on what your favorite part is. Don't forget to scratch the subscribe button and peck the bell so you know when the end of the fight comes out. We all hope you're having a great one, and we will see you next time. Quee!
Laters.
Bye.
DMobo out!